Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, and thanks for joining me again on another movie review. Uh, this is another horror movie. I just got done seeing The Curse of La Llorona. To all my Spanish speaking friends, I apologize if I butchered that pronunciation. All right, so for those of you who don't know, because I certainly didn't know, uh, beforehand, before I'd seen the trailers and I had looked it up and everything. But The Curse of La Llorona is actually based on a type of Latin American boogeyman. So that's the best way to describe it for those who have never heard of her. It really means the crying lady or the weeping lady, and it's a kind of urban legend to this woman who gets children who misbehave. So listen to your parents, kids. So this is kind of the same thing, that a lot of us Americans would know, as a boogeyman type creature. So that's just the background. The lore continues in this film, and this film is another film in the Conjuring universe of films. For those of you who don't know, they are responsible for, I believe there's two Conjuring films. There's a couple Annabelle movies, one Nun movie, and then they've actually got a few more in the works. I know they have at least got another Annabelle movie, and there were talks of maybe a Crooked Man movie. That was another creature that appeared in one of the films. And I will say that I'm a big fan of that. I really like what they're trying to do. I haven't liked every movie in the Conjuring universe of films, but I do like the fact that they're kind of doing what Marvel has done and creating this coherent universe that all of its superheroes get to star in, and they're doing that for these villains, these supernatural beings. And so I think it's pretty cool to be able to know that the demon that you see in this film may somehow interact with a ghoul or some creepy thing that you've seen in another. So I thought that was really cool. This, like I said, this is another uh, film in that franchise, and just gonna be honest with you, it was just okay. So it got right now it's getting pretty drugged by the critics. It's got a 33% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Uh, I think there's no audience score yet, but I think the audiences are going to rate it a little higher than that. 'Cause I think it does what it set out to do, for especially for Latin American viewers. Uh, you know, just hearing the name of it, you're gonna know the folklore, and it's something that you're gonna be heard as a kid, just as American viewers. If you've heard of the boogeyman, growing up, and so just that name is gonna resonate with you. That said, one of the biggest criticisms that I read and I agree with is that it focused more on jump scares than really getting to the myth and really getting to the urban legend that it could have. Without giving away spoilers, it just gives a little bit of backstory as to what happened, and that's really all you get. And most of the scares, they do come in the jump scare variety, which I will say is a little disappointing, especially because this film was rated R, and it is, especially for a horror film, this is definitely one of the more tame rated R horror films I've seen. Uh, I'm not. I appreciate all types of horror movies. I'm not just a gore hound, nor do I hate gore. But when a film is rated R, I do expect it to be a little bit more edgy, and I do expect to see some sequences that I wouldn't see in a film that was PG-13. And to be honest, I really didn't see that here. It's kind of hard for me to understand why, in fact, it was rated R. Maybe some of the language, but if you see this film, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's no overt gore or anything of that nature. There's nothing, no scenes, that they show that are that terrifying that to me that would merit a rated R rating. So That criticism I really agree with. Like I said, I think it focuses a little bit more on jump scares than it could have really delved into the backstory, especially given the fact that this is a film that you're including in your universe of, horror films. So that I personally would have really liked to see them, flesh out that backstory and really give it a chance to differentiate it between some of the other villains that you have in your universe. A lot of films, horror films do this where they have a, with the exceptions of like the iconic figures. We talk about Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, or Jason Voorhees. They're all interchangeable. You can't tell, you know, one slasher character away from another. You can't, especially when you get into like ghosts and ghouls. It's one. If you've seen one, you've seen them all, and you can't differentiate. Well, this one in this film, he can only do this, or it's all the same. And so, to me, if you're gonna have a shared universe of characters, it would be nice to really be able to say, okay, this is the nun, and this is her backstory. This is what she can do. This is what she can't do. This is her limitations. And then you've got, okay, this is Annabelle, and this is why she's different. This was how she was created. And with La Llorona, she definitely has her own backstory, but they didn't really get deep into that. So I think, like I said, I think audiences are definitely going to rate it higher, and I think the Rotten Tomato score is a little misleading. Uh, but it's not something I think is going to be very high. It does its job. I think the younger crowd that go to see this movie, they'll be entertained. You'll get thrills. You'll get it'll make you jump a couple times. But other than that, I don't think it's something that's going to have a very lasting impression on you. So for that, I give it a 7 out of 10, just because it does its job. I think the actors did fine jobs. No outstanding performance. I did think the children did a good job. A lot of child actors. I try not to focus on too much. I get that they're children, so I try not to criticize too much. But I do legitimately think they did a good job in this film. So I was happy to see that. That's all I have for this one. It's going to be pretty short. I said there's not too much really I want to have to say about it. It's an average film, not something that I would rush out to theaters to see. But if you want to see a movie this weekend, you want to see a date movie, you fan of horror, or you can't get enough of the Conjuring universe, it's worth going to see in theaters, getting that crowd effect. But once again, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate the support. Let me know what you think. If you think this was the best movie ever, let me know. Write me a comment. We can debate it. If you think this was the worst movie ever and you're wondering why I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I personally caused you to waste your money and your time and your life, let me know too. We can talk about that. But once again, thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back soon. Avengers is coming up. It is so close to being here. I'm excited, very excited. I probably won't get that review to you guys the day I see it, but probably the very next day after. But very excited. It's going to be a great year in film. It already has been. Keep watching, guys. Thank you.